Welcome to the 2021 Golf Summer Series race number 22. Today we're here at the Denver Motorsports Park for the Coors Light 350. For the second straight year, the Mile High City will play host to the semifinale as the sellout crowd is just about ready to see who will contend for this 2021 title. Taking a look at the point change going into today's race, and currently Hold'em has a 14-point advantage over the 22 Brendan Beal. As I mentioned last week, Beal would have the tiebreaker over Hoodlum due to his number of top 5s. Meanwhile, Random J third is by my 15, and his teammate Keith Herman is by my 16. While Beal's teammate Bradley Reim is also set the top 5, behind by 21. Defending series champion Kellen Baker is 25 points back, where you see Nelson Reeves in 7th, who's currently the Rookie of the Year point leader, is 42 points back from the 3 car, so that 16 team definitely needs a good race here today if he wants to stay in contention. Same can also be said for John McFadden in 89, Joe T in 17, and Nick Sand in the 52. And as of right now, mathematically, 22 drivers have a shot of winning this championship, as it all within 84 points or less back from the point leader. But before we get things underway, it's time to take a look at our starting lineup for today's race. So on the pole is the 14 of Dan Matteillo, and next to him the 40 car Brad Reem, who as I mentioned came to face 5th in points, so therefore a great starting position for the 40 team here today. Row 2, Johnny Hernandez and Herbert Solomon. Row 3, Brittany Carruthers and defending series champion Kellen Baker. Row 4, Nick Sanders also set the top 10 in points, and the 55 of Dominic Payment. Row 5, Ada Robertson and Kyle Salmon. Row 6, Jordan Stout and Jason Albert. Row 7 are the 2 teammates that are both inside the top 5 in points, defending race winner Keith Charlton and the 53 of Random J. Row 8, current points leader Hoodlum and Trey Smith. Row 9, Ryan Wilson and Ray Vela. Row 10, Ross McTrain and Nelson Reeves. Row 11, Matthew Hill and Owen Miles. Row 12, Jordan Forbes and Lipsy. Row 13, Matthew Burnett and Dan McTrain. Row 14, RC Gamer and Devin Payment. Row 15, John McFadden and David Johnson. Row 16 is the 17 of Joe T, starting really deep in the field here today, and next to him the 95 of Caleb Rose. Row 17 is Movement and Brendan Beal, another major point contender, starting deep in the field here today. And starting last for row 18 is the driver who finished 2nd at this race last year, Henig Scott. Taking a look at the track info here for today's race, we're going to go 32 laps on this 2.3 mile long D-shaped oval with 13 degrees of banking into turns. And as for the weather here today in Denver, 90 degrees Fahrenheit and 90 miles per hour towards the southwest, making it one of the hottest summer series races of the year. And also, as you may notice, this is actually a shorter race compared to last year, as last year's race had 40 laps versus the 32 we have here today. So even though 8 laps may not seem like a big difference, that could definitely affect the strategy that these drivers will try doing here today. And now, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
And we're going to issue with the 60th Owen Miles. Looks like it got turned actually going into the starting grid. Take a look at the replay in the bottom right hand corner. He makes contact with the 61 of Jordan Forbes, who just spins him off the apron and into turn number 1 on the racetrack. Looks like Miles didn't suffer any damage, little to no damage on that car. As you see now, Miles is trying to get back into the starting grid. As you're supposed to start 22nd here in today's race. As he's now 3 wide of Lipsy in the 90 of Matthew Hill. And to be honest with you right now, I don't think this is a really smart move at all for Miles to do. If I were just him, I would just drop to the back, start last. Because right now, he's not only risking his own car, but also his other cars who are in this championship battle. So for the second week in a row, we have pre-race commotions here with one of the drivers before the race even begins. But regardless, that's not going to stop us from starting this race, as the pace car is now down pit road. The field coming through the front stretch, the sellout crowd on their feet. As here we go, green flag, the 2021 Summer Series semifinale is underway here in Denver. And NR cars already making it through line, including the 21 and Calvin Baker, making it through on Herbert Solman and Johnny Hernandez, as well as Random Chain to 53, making it through out of Jason Albert and his teammate Jordan's down the 11. Carruthers now side by side with his teammate Dominic Payment, while here comes Hernandez now side by side for the lead of Matteillo off turn number 2, and now down the back straightaway. Hernandez with the advantage on Matteillo, and it looks like into turn number 3 will clear Matteillo for the lead. So Matteillo is stuck on the outside, side by side with Bradley Reem now for the second position. Looks like off 4 now. Bradley Reem got a great run on the inside. He's currently side by side for the lead with Johnny Hernandez now coming to lap number 2. There you see Nixon at 52 trying to go for third on Herbert Solman is 67. Carruthers was 3 out in the middle with Matteillo and Aiden Robinson the 1 car. As Bradley Reem will clear Johnny Hernandez for the lead. So already so far so good for Reem, who of course came this race 21 points back from the 3 of Hoodlum, as they look to get as many points as they can before next week's finale at Martinsville. Hernandez now tucked into second with Nixon in third behind him. You see Solman now way up high in the racetrack, nearly got in the wall going into turn number 4, as that 67 will lose a lot of spots here. And of course, remember the last race at April, Solman was up front for pretty much the entire day, but here, in just a span of a half a lap or so, Solman's going to be below the top 10. Looks like in turn number 1, Solman's going to get to the inside to possibly get as many positions as he can. He's now side by side with the 11 of Jordan Stout. Meanwhile, taking a look at some of the other championship drivers in the running order is the Rookie of the Year leader, Nelson Reeves, and the championship leader of Hoodlum in the 3. Of course, Hoodlum came this race 14 points above Brendan Beal. And even though Hoodlum is actually outrunning both Beal and Random J right now, well, you can definitely think that 3 team is trying to get to the front as soon as they possibly can. As into turn number 3 there, Hoodlum got a great run on the inside. And I'm definitely be surprised if Hoodlum were to stand inside the lane throughout this entire race, and or maybe utilize the risky pit road strategy. And you see, as I mentioned, the 22 Brendan Beal also back here, alongside the 53 of Random J, currently 3 out of movement and Owen Miles, as he's currently below the top 30. Back towards the front, Aiden Robinson, 1 car now up on the outside, losing many spots there. As they got battle footed once again, here comes Johnny Hernandez on the inside of Bradley Reem off turn number 2. Trying to take that spot away from the 40 car, looks like he will, down the back straightaway. Will he maintain it into turn number 3? Looks like he will. Johnny Hernandez back to the lead here at Denver, as Reem's going to fall down to second, as he's now trying to hold his ground against Nick Sant. Leaders coming off turn number 4 once again, as Johnny Hernandez off 4 will come to lead lap number 4, lap number 5 this time by here in Denver. Of course, at this very race last year, Hernandez entered in as a driver in the hunt for the championship after his win from the previous week at Bristol. But unfortunately for Johnny, early in that race last year, he and his son Hold'em got caught up in a wreck that ultimately ended both their championship hopes. Behind him, battle for second now between Nick Sant and Bradley Reem. Of course, both the drivers have experiences of winning at intermediates this year, with, of course, Nick Sant winning in Atlanta, where both of Bradley Reem's wins this year came at intermediates at Mexico City and Chicago, respectively. While not too far behind them is a battle for fortune, defending series champ Calvin Baker and Braden Carruthers, as Baker's another driver trying to keep his championship hopes alive, as he came this race 25 points back from the 3 car, as he looks to defend his title. Coming to lap number 6 this time by Reem, trying to get a run on the outside, as Nick Sant nearly squeezes him in the wall there as he moves to the outside. That's going to open the door for Bradley to look to the inside into turn number 2, as they're once again side by side for second. Of course, I already mentioned Bradley came this race 5th, while Nick Sant came this race 10th. And right now, it's pretty much a must-win situation for Nick Sant if he wants to win the championship next week, as now comes Reem for another great run on Johnny Hernandez, with the 52 right in tow as he go into turn number 4. Reem now to the inside, the 46 going into turn number 4. As now out of 4, they near make contact. That was very close there, but thankfully for both of them, they were able to sort it out. And coming down the front stretch, once again, side by side for the lead, coming to lap number 7. Hernandez started the advantage that time by, but into turn number 1, Bradley Reeves going to clear Hernandez with ease, as Johnny's going to fall back to 3rd, as now Nick Sant side by side for the lead now. Of course, as I mentioned, Nick Sant has to win. He and his team knows that, and he's wasting absolutely no time to get around one of the championship favorites. Into turn number 3, Nick Sant on the inside, Ryder's still at the advantage as they're still side by side going to turn number 4. As Reem is still holding his ground on the outside. But it's going to be absolutely no match to Nick Sant's huge run off turn number 4. And it'll clear Reem for the lead. Coming once again due to trial for Nick Sant with his first lap here today. As we're on board with the 46 of Hernandez. Hernandez that time by was 3/10 back from the 52. As he gets another girl into turn number 1. Ground challenge Brad Reem once again, this time for second. But Carruthers also trying to do the same. As he's right behind the back bumper at 46. Meanwhile, Kyle Salmon and Dan Matteillo currently side by side for the 6th position. Of course, Salmon earlier this week at April didn't even get a chance to run a single lap. And that dropped Salmon back to 22nd in points, 84 back from the leader. So he definitely needs a good next 2 races here. And for other Hail Marys to happen, but he still at least has a chance. It was almost 4 wide for the lead going into turn number 4. Brendan Crozier gets a huge run on the inside. As it'll clear Hernandez and the side-by-side of Bradley Reem coming towards the front stretch. And we've got a good run on the inside, trying to clear that 40 car coming to lap number 7. And Bradley's still fighting back on the outside. As here comes Kellen Baker trying to throw his hat into the ring. Carruthers now up to 2nd. Hernandez once again side by side of Reem, this time for 3rd, with the 21 and 36 right behind. And that's going to make Matteillo to fall down to 7th. Now Hernandez is side by side of Carruthers down the back straightaway as they go into turn number 3 once again. Johnny yet again on the inside. We'll get a good run on Carruthers. And he'll clear Carruthers back with the 2nd once again. Brad Reem now side by side the 4 car going into turn number 4. Looks like we'll clear him there. Carruthers now stuck on the outside. Now Kellen Baker makes contact on the 4 as well as the 36. It does Carruthers spinning here in the front straightaway. Carruthers can come back on the track and save it. No caution. That was an incredible save from Carruthers as everybody tries to avoid. But I think one car that won't be lucky for that occasion is the 95 of Caleb Rose. As it looks like the entire left front fender is completely gone on that car. And as that 95 is really slow, going to pull down the apron. As Rose will thankfully avoid all the other oncoming cars. As off 2, now down the back straightaway. Rose will pull down to the apron as Summer Series officials are still not throwing a caution. Definitely much to the dismay of that 95 team. As that team is trying to avoid getting their 2nd straight DNF here in the Summer Series. As we got about a full lead now. Nick Sant, Johnny Hernandez side by side coming towards the front stretch. And coming towards lap number 11, Johnny Hernandez with the advantage to the line. As the 46 is back to the lead here at Denver. Nick Sant still right behind the 46 into turn number 1. With Brad Reem in 3rd, not too far behind. Matteillo now back up to 4th, while Jordan Stout's up to 5th and an 11, followed by Nelson Reeves in the 16, up to 6. As we now got replay of what happened not too long ago. So Carruthers, Baker, and Salmon were 3 wide off 4, and Baker just turns Carruthers in the front stretch. With Salmon trying to avoid into 36, along with the 21 of Baker slowing down. You see everyone up scrambling to avoid except for the 95 of Rose, who hit Carruthers on his right side and completely ripping out that left front fender of that car. Matt Burnett also sideswiped that 95, giving that car additional damage. So you're on board the 95 here of Rose to give you perspective of what happened. Tries to avoid and just sideswipes Carruthers there, completely ripping out that left front fender of that car. And you see a second hit there for Burnett. And while the 2 spotted pivot drivers of Carruthers and Burnett are still continuing, and as I mentioned, the 95 team will be done for today, getting their 2nd straight DNF in the Summer Series after getting their first not even a week ago at April. Meanwhile, taking a look at the championship leader going in this race, the 3 of Hoodham has actually made his way in the top 10, is currently scored in the 8th position. So definitely that spin of Carruthers provided a huge break for that 3 team. As if he stays in that position, he's definitely going to get some good points here today. Behind him is the 1 car of Ada Robertson, who's currently in the 9th position, which is also the position where we started today's race, as that struggling 1 team, and most RC Motorsports in general, just trying to end their season on a high note here. He's trying to shine another points leader today, also inside the top 10, currently in 10th. Came to race 4th with points, 16 points back from the 3 car, as he's also looking to get some very valuable points here today. And remember last year, Richardson was in a must-win situation to even be in the hunt of last year's championship, and as you all know, he did, and ended up finishing inside the top 5 in points. Meanwhile, Kyle Salmon just got around Herbert Solman for the 11th position. And of course, Salmon just now, as you saw, ended up losing 7 positions after his teammate Baker made contact with Carruthers. And subsequently, also Solman's down to 12th in that 67. David Johnson, the 2 car in 13th, as he came to this race 32nd in points, had a very promising start to the season, but just faltered after the first several races. Dominic Payman in 14th, Dan McTrain in 15th, both drivers towards the middle pack in points. And behind those two is the 66 of Trey Smith, who of course won a last race at 8 Bowl in his American flag car on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Meanwhile, behind him is the 53 of Random J, currently 17th, who of course came this race third in points, 15 back from Hoodlum. And so far, that car for Random hasn't been up to his standards, especially since these 2-mile-long D-shaped ovals have for the most part been very nice to Random, as every single race ran in this track type, Random was able to score and finish inside the top 15. And we'll check down the front straightaway. Owen Miles and Maverick are going to make it 3-wide on Random and force him up to the outside. Kellen Baker, after getting involved in an incident with Braden Carruthers, went from being inside the top 5 to being below the top 20 in 21st. So that was definitely a huge disaster for that 21 team, as their championship hopes are hanging on to dear life. And not too far behind Baker are some other championship drivers not running around so far. Joe T to 17 came to face 9th in points, 54 points back from the leader, while second place in points Brendan Beal is also back here in the 22nd position. So for several of these drivers who came in not only as a favorite for this race, but also to win the championship. John McFadden also came to this race 8th in points, as he's also back here. So now Kellen Baker's down pit road, and even though our pit window is not open quite yet, Baker is not only trying to repair some damage he got from Braden Carruthers during that spin a few laps ago, but also as an attempt to get back inside the top 10 by doing the pit stop early in hopes of coming out in front of everybody. And looks like Baker is doing the full sail pit stop alongside repairing that damage, as we'll take 4 tires and gas. Meanwhile, back up front is the 40 of Bradley Reem. So far, he's had a really strong car. Trying to spend his case as a championship favorite, as Hernandez and Nixon there made contact off 4. Coming to lap number 17, already halfway done here at Denver. As Baker's now coming out of pit road and will go a lap down. And as we saw the last intermediate race at Darlington, that was the risk the drivers who came in early in that race had to face, trying to get the lap back. But as we saw in that race, that was able to work out, and they were able to finish ahead of the other leaders, who pitted later as we're on board with Matteillo now. Matteillo right behind the back bumper of Reem, down the back shadow and into turn number 3. I would guess Matteillo is going to try to build up a run on the inside. Looks like he will. Looking to the inside of the 40 car, as they're side by side once again for the lead. With Reem still committed to the outside. Matteillo off 4 is going to have the advantage over Reem, as they're still side by side pointing towards the front stretch. Matteillo, I believe, had the advantage that time by lap number 18 this time by. Matteillo has a winning streak in the Summer Series dating back to last July, for his last win being at the Charlotte Roval. And after an absolutely terrible season for Matteillo, he's definitely found out hungry to get back in victory lane, as look at Hoodlum in that 3 car flying through the field. And just a reminder that Hoodlum started this race in the 15th position. So in about 18 laps or so, he was able to make up almost 10 positions, as Hernandez now is side by side with his son. But despite that, this has been a very, very impressive march to the front for that 3 team, as that Braden Carruthers sprint really gave that 3 team a huge shot on the arm after a rather dismal first 10 laps or so. Battle for second now, Jordan Stout and Bradley Reem. As at 11 teams, another driver came to this race in a must-win situation, as Stout came to this race 11th in points. It's the first time almost all year that Stout's below the top 10 in points, as he's currently 66 back from the point leader. In that pass, we move Stout up to second place, while Reeves is trying to defend his 4th place position over the 2 Hernandez cars. As into turn number 3 comes Stout, looking to the inside of Matteillo, right on his back bumper. And I think Stout gave him a little bit of a shot back there, as now he looks to the inside for the lead into turn number 4. Side by side once again for the lead. Matteillo with the advantage off 4, but Stout gets another great run on the inside, coming towards the front stretch. Lap number 20 this time by. 11 and 14 is still side by side into turn number 1. Jordan Stout with the advantage over Matteillo. Will he clear to 14? Looks like he will. Jordan Stout to the lead here at Denver, as now Matteillo is trying to hold on to second, as he's now side by side once again with Bradley Reem. With once again Reem on the inside and Matteillo on the outside as they come off turn number 2. Now down the back shooter, they're still side by side. Bradley Reem with the advantage over Matteillo, as he now tries to go for the lead himself into turn number 3. Reem had a really bad exit off 3. Will we have another chance here going into 4? Looks like he will, as Reem is once again trying to get that first position back. Reem once again on the inside, battling for the lead, as he'll force Stout towards the middle, coming to lap number 21. Stout still trying to hang on the outside. Matteillo right behind the 11. As both those cars will lose ground on the outside, Reem back to the lead here at Denver. It looks like Reem will have some distance over both the 11 and 14. As now Hold'em is up to 6, as he got around his spotter Johnny Hernandez. As he's side by side with Reim Vela with the 24 Keisha Armstrong right behind him. And how about a good run for Reim Vela in that 8 car? As much like Hold'em, she started towards the middle of the pack in the 18th position, but was able to work her way up through the field and has been inside the top 10 ever since. We're trying to look into the inside. We've got cars coming down pit road now. Reim Vela in the 8 car down pit road, alongside Kyle Salmon in the 36. Matteillo, who was 3rd place at the time, is also down pit road, as the rest of the field will stay out here. Meanwhile, we'll do turns 1 and 2 once again. Jordan Stout will clear Brad Reem for the lead. As Brendan Beal, Random J, Owen Miles, all down pit road. And of course, both Beal and Random are 2 drivers inside the top 3 in points who've had less than stellar days. And for those 2 to come early, could really help them out here in the long run. As we look through the leaders, see if they'll come down pit road this time by. As see Hold'em side by side with Nixon for the 4th position. Stout still leads off 4. Looks like he will come down pit road, followed by Brad, Reem, Nelson, Reeves, and pretty much everyone else who has yet to pit. Keisha Armstrong, Herbert Solomon, Joe T, Trey Smith, John McFadden, or just some of the notable drivers who are now coming down pit road. And as that happens, Matteillo now is coming out of pit road and was able to complete his pit stops, followed by Reim Vela, Kyle Stam, Random J, Brendan Beal as they moved up 7 positions after that. However, of course, the question is, what about these drivers who are doing the pit stops right now? Will they beat Matteillo off pit road, or will they tuck in behind him? As he now Stout's done for his pit stop, followed by Brad, Reem, Nelson, Reeves, Hold'em. Several big-name drivers in the top 10 in points. All have completed their pit stops and are heading back onto the track. So depending on when these drivers come back onto the racetrack, in proximity to Matteillo, we'll definitely have huge point implications by the end of the day. And see Matteillo now going into turn number 2, as Stout's now coming down the back straightaway on the apron. Will he beat Matteillo off? Trying to get the speed here. Matteillo's not too far behind. It looks like Stout will beat Matteillo off pit road. As now Nelson Reeves is side by side with Matteillo in the turns 3 and 4. As 14 will get a great run on the outside, making almost 3 wide in the turn number 4 there. Stout's going to come up to block Matteillo on the outside. Reeves got a great run on the inside and curve both of them for the lead. Coming to 9 laps to go. Nelson Reeves to the lead here in Denver. Nelson Reeves trying to get a second Summer Series win after his first, of course, at the Firecracker 400. But Stout and Matteillo not too far behind. As on board with Matteillo again, he looks to the inside of Stout in the turn number 2. Matteillo once again with a good run off Stout as he gets another good run off 2 and down the back straightaway. As he's now side by side with Nelson Reeves for the lead. Meanwhile, as for the other drivers who were able to successfully cycle back after the pit road cycles, include some of the lower running championship drivers of Random J, Brad Reem. Random's currently in 7th, trying to get around Hold'em in the 3 car. Where Brendan Beal is currently in 9th, as now Stout is side by side with Nelson Reeves for 2nd. As Matteillo is able to clear to 16. As now Reeves is on the outside, Stout once again on the inside, coming to 8 laps to go. The inside has proven time and time again to be the best place to be, especially going in and out of the turns. And Stout will definitely take advantage of that. He's got a great run into turn number 1. Trying to clear Nelson Reeves. And now trying to go for the lead on Matteillo off turn number 2. Down the back straightaway, Stout once again side by side for the lead. As Random and Hold'em are still side by side. As in the single shot here, got all the top 4 drivers in the point standings. So right now, definitely seeing some pretty big point implications going on here as they continue to battle for positions. Beal still holding on to 9th, Johnny Hernandez down to 10th. Ada Robertson in 11th in the 1 car. As you just got around Ned against Scott for that position. Nick Sand down to 13th in that 52. Did not have a good pit cycle at all. Well, Keisha Armstrong is down to 15th in that 24 car. So much like Nick Sand, Richardson did not have a good cycle at all. And this effort could be huge right on, as the other drivers in the top 5 in standings are all inside the top 10. And we see Owen Miles, Ryan Wilson back here. Same goes we said for movement. Herbert Solomon is 67. Dan McTrain in the 37 and 21st. Kellen Baker in 22nd. So that pit strategy of him coming early did not really work out at all. and even though he was able to get back on the lead lap, their strategy of coming down early did not work out at all, as before he came down, he was pretty much in the exact same position as he is right now. Meanwhile, behind Baker are 3 out of the 5 Spina Bifida drivers, Matthew Burnett, Dominic Payment, and Devin Payment respectively, while the Pontiac rookies of John McFadden and Joe T are also back here, 26th and 28th respectively. Of course, they both came this race inside the top 10 and still mathematically eligible for the championship. Looks like right now the chances at the championship here this summer are pretty much over. Meanwhile, Jason Albert and Jonah Forbes, who are also drivers still mathematically eligible, their chances are pretty much over. While Trey Smith is well behind the leaders in that 66, as that 66 team had a really long pit stop, dropping down to 33rd. Our Brendan Carruthers, currently the last car on the track, is in the 34th position. Meanwhile, Battlefield once again, Jordan Stout side by side with Nelson Reeves, coming to lap number 28 of 32, with only 5 laps to go. Stout once again on the inside, side by side in the tournament for another great run. Stout back to the lead here at Denver as they go into turn number 2. Matteillo going for another great run on the inside, trying to ground the 16 car. It looks like off of 2 down the back shorter once again. Matteillo will clear Nelson Reeves as the 14 moves back up to second, as he once again has another shot on Stout. Through turns 3 and 4, Matteillo once again looking to the inside of Stout as we're trying to move the 11 towards the outside. But looks like into turn number 4, Stout was able to maintain his ground against Matteillo, as now Nelson Reeves hits the wall off turn number 4. And that's going to cause Reeves to lose a lot of ground on both Matteillo and Stout as they come to 4 laps to go this time by. And there you see Reeves now over 7 tenths behind Jordan Stout, as now he's fighting with Bradley Reem to keep his 3rd position as they go through turns 1 and 2 once more. And you see behind those two, Hold'em is back inside the top 5 and 5th. And unless something happens here, it'll be yet another good points day for that 3 team. Meanwhile, the race for the win is still on between Jordan Stout and Dan Matteillo. Stout trying to get his 2nd Summer Series win of his career. And unfortunately, due to the fact that the other championship drivers right now are instead of the top 10, Stout will not have a chance to win a championship next week at Martinsville. But a win here today for that team definitely won't hurt at all. You saw throughout action here with Johnny Hernandez, Reem, and Kyle Stallman off turn number 4 there as you come to 3 laps to go. Matteillo once again for another good run there as Reem is still trying to work on Nelson Reeves for 3rd. As Alvaro and Random J are stuck on the outside as they're going to lose a lot of ground. With Random out side by side with point rival Brendan Beal, as Reem is still trying to work on Nelson Reeves for that 3rd position. Again, trying to get as many points as he possibly can, especially with Hold'em right behind him. But as I said, here comes Hold'em once again for another great run into turn number 3 as he tries to pass both the 40 and 16. Matteillo once again gaining ground on Stout as we're almost 3 out off turn 4 once again as Hold'em and Reem make contact. Reem goes around and saves it. Holy crap. That was an incredible save there for Bradley Reem as he's still side by side with Nelson Reeves for the 3rd position. So once again, we see another incredible save here today at Denver. And if Reem did run around and didn't save it, that could have put a huge dent in both Hold'em and all 3 of those drivers, frankly. Hold'em and Reem and Nelson Reeves' hopes at the championship. Unfortunately for all 3 of them, they were able to sort it out. Meanwhile, with only 2 laps to go, Matteillo is right in the back bumper with Jordan Stout as they head down the back straight and into turn number 3. Matteillo pinking his nose on the inside. When do we make it to what's to be now? Matteillo once again, side by side with Jordan Stout to turn from number 4 for the 2nd to last time. Through the front stretch this time by. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go here at Denver. Stout, Matteillo, who's going to win? As we got around 2.3 miles left to go. Into turn 1 once again. Matteillo is side by side with Stout on the inside. It looks like once again Matteillo is going to get a great run into turn number 1 and will clear Jordan Stout. Stout quickly trying to get back to the inside as they come off turn number 2 down the back straightaway for the final time. It looks like through the long back stretch and into turn number 3, Matteillo is going to pull away from Jordan Stout as Stout's going to try one last chance to catch up to Matteillo. Jordan Stout off turn number 3 gets another good on the inside, but it's not going to be enough. Dan Matteillo off turn number 4 for the final time. And coming towards the front stretch, the dry spell is over for Dan Matteillo as they'll see the checkered flag. He'll win here today at Denver. Congratulations to Dan Matteillo and Albert Motorsports, their winners here today at Denver. This is Matteillo's first win in the Random J Series since Stafford in January for the winter street stock. So definitely a long time coming for that 14 team that have had an absolutely terrible summer this year. Meanwhile, Brad Reeves is going to finish 4th. We've had Hoodlum who finishes 5th. Random J is going to get the last spot in the top 10, finishing 10th. With Brendan Beal behind him in 11th. Keisha Ernst is going to finish the lowest out of anyone in the championship top 5, finishing 16th. But anyways, let's take a look at the finishing results and point standings after the day's race. So here we go. Dan Matteillo will get his 3rd Summer Series win here today at Denver. Again, a huge congratulations to that team after just an absolutely terrible season that team has gone through. Went from 2nd in the point standings last year to 3rd to last this year. So just unbelievable how much that team has fallen off this year. And even though this win here today won't help him out in the short term, it's definitely going to help that team out in the long term. Jordan Stout finishes 2nd in the 11 car. He actually led the most laps today of 8 laps, so definitely a good run there for the 11 team. Nelson Reeves finishes 3rd in the 16, the highest of any of those Summer Series rookies here today. Brad Reim finished 4th to get his 7th top 5 of the year, while right behind him, Hoodlum finished 5th to get his 6th top 5 of the finish of the year. And if you remember going into this race, I mentioned Reim has the tiebreaker over Hoodlum due to his number of top 5s. And if Brad is getting another top 5, you'll still have the advantage of a Hoodlum if a tiebreaker situation were to happen going into the final race this summer. Meanwhile, Hoodlum's father, Johnny Hernandez, finishes behind him in 6th, as this will be the 2nd time in the Summer Series this year in the Summer Series. Those two have finished back-to-back winner, and of course the first time being at Bristol last month. Finishing 7th is the 36 of Kyle Simon, decent rebound from him after getting nearly taken out after the Brittany Carruthers Callan Baker incident earlier in the race. Ada Robertson, the 1 car, finishes 8th. Ray Vail, the only Spina Bifida driver in the top 10, finishes 9th. And rounding up the top 10 is the 53 of Random J as the 3rd and last driver in this top 5 in the point standings. To get a top 10 finish, this will be Random's 8th top 10 of the year. And now, the moment y'all been waiting for, the point standings going into the 2021 Summer Series Championship. And Hoodlum is still on top of the point standings with 673 points, this time 19 above the new 2nd place driver Bradley Reem. So as of right, as I mentioned, Reem has a tiebreaker advantage over Hoodlum due to his number of top 5s. Right now, as of right now, the tentative championship clinching scenario for Hoodlum is to finish 25th or higher. But of course, that depends what happens to where the other drivers place during next week's race at Martinsville. Meanwhile, Brendan Beal moves down to 3rd in points by 20 and is currently tied with Random J for that position due to Beal's 2 wins with the Random's 1, who have the advantage over the 53. Keisha Ernst is down to 5th in points by 27, so from 1st to 5th, say if Hoodlum has an issue in the race, right? 2nd to 5th all have a very realistic shot of winning the championship. But as for the drivers who are 6th and 7th in the standings, Nelson Reeves and Callan Baker, they pretty much have to hope for a miracle here next week, and pretty much got to hope that everyone in front of him wrecks out early in the race, pretty much. And for Callan Baker, it's pretty much a must-win situation for him to defend his title. And of course, much like if we compare the championship standings to last year, where Baker and Matteillo were divided by literally a single point, it's definitely much less close to a race for this championship, even compared also to the Winter Street Stocks Championship back in February. Meanwhile, as for the drivers who just missed out on contending for a championship, Jordan Stout back into the top 10 points by 8, 61 points back from Hoodlum, so he's mathematically eliminated right there. Same could also said for Nick Sand, the 52, bottom by 63. While John McFadden's going to run off the top 10, bottom by 72. And much like last year, these 7 championship drivers will have orange banners and orange spoilers to signify that they're in the hunt for this championship. Meanwhile, as for the Rookie of the Year race between Nelson Reeves and new 2nd place rookie driver John McFadden, even though Reeves is highlighted orange, he still hasn't clinched the Rookie of the Year title just yet, and currently 33 points separate the 16 and 89, which is something McFadden can still make up next week, but depending, of course, on where both him, Reeves, and even Joe T, who isn't too far behind in 3rd place, finish next week. And of course, next week is where the summer's going to end at our new finale track at the Martinsville Speedway for the STP 500. Down Marshall Sunday night at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, a new starting time as opposed to usual to avoid conflict with the Las Vegas Cup race that night. So that race you not want to miss. Martinsville, as you saw last year when it was race number 2 in the schedule, was a very unpredictable and treacherous track, as everyone put a lot of pressure and caused a lot of drama with these championship drivers. But as always, y'all, thank you guys for watching this race. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys at Martinsville.